having the official launch of a 2019 edition of a National Science and Maths Quiz competition. It happens to be the 26th edition of a competition, and it's bigger, better, and it has even more mouth-watering prizes this year. We know last year served up some interesting mouth-watering clashes and some surprises as well. We had some underdogs, coming out to beat the schools that have held records in this competition. We know that 135 schools are competing in this year's event. We also have 12 all-female girls' school, which are competing in this competition. So 135 schools in all, 12 girls' schools, and the others are mixed schools and other all-boys schools. And we can see some of the participating schools already arriving here, teachers, students, and also officials and executives of primetime producers of the National Science and Maths Quiz already filing in a very short while. We're expecting this particular launch to commence. But let me just run by you some of the prizes that are up for grabs at this year's competition. We know that GES is sponsoring the event, the competition, some 40,000 Ghana cedis up for grabs for the winning school, 15,000 cedis for the teacher and his colleagues of a winning school, and another 15,000 cedis for the contestants. They will be shared among the contestants, 3 contestants that is. The second place school, we are learning that they will be picking some 30,000 Ghana cedis in cash prize, 10,000 cedis for the teacher and his other teaching staff on the team, and then 10,000 cedis again will go to the contestants. So we also know about the trip to Kenya and Dubai, which have been made available courtesy sponsors of this year's edition of a National Science and Maths Quiz. So if you're watching us from home, this is where you have to be your most reliable news source, JoyNews. We're bringing you all the competition, all the contests right here on JoyNews. You can follow the coverage also on social media at NSMQ on JoyNews, hashtag NSMQ on JoyNews. Let me bring in my colleague, Nancy Emefajadose, who I will be doing this with. Nancy, last year, you were in the thick of affairs. You were there. You saw a lot of the competitions. You interacted with many of the students. Tell us about the last contest, the one that served the surprise at last year's event.
So last year's finals had West Africa Senior High School, which is my school, at St. Peter's Boys Senior High School, and also has at the Saddle College. Going into that particular tournament, it was quite unpredictable because you see that all the 3 schools were extremely, very, very good. Mm-hmm. You have schools like West Africa Senior High School. They came up like underdogs, even though they had seeded in the previous year. And so the hopes were high. In fact, in our analysis, it appears that St. Peter's and West Africa Senior High School were going to perform. But then it was interesting. They were all doing so well, West Africa Senior High School, St. Peter's, and also Adisadel, until they got to the truth or false. And then Adisadel College decided to, I think they answered all their questions wrongly, and that gave an upper hand to the other schools, which was West Africa Senior High School and St. Peter's. And I'm sure you also know what happened. It was, you just couldn't predict what was going to happen.
It was nerve-wracking. I remember we were live at Adisadel College that afternoon. We were also live at St. Peter's. We brought all the reactions, all the students gathered in the assembly hall, watching with keen interest and with bated breath, waiting to know who was going to win the competition. Let's bring you back some of the visuals from the last round of the National Science and Maths Quiz at last year's event.
Specifically, I applied 2 particles with half-integer spin. Yes, Abdul.
Pauline's exclusion principle.
You're right. They solved the riddle on the 3rd clue. 3 points. Next one. I am sometimes referred to as the ladder of life, but I'm often not considered when it comes to great biological discoveries. I was one of the first scientists to organize living things. Thus, among other things I studied, I was a taxonomist. My work on the classification of living things was revolutionary at my time. I developed the first classification system. Yes. Kisi. I developed the first classification system. Yes. Kisi.
Aristotle.
You are right. They solved the riddle on the 5th clue, 3 points. My name comes from an Arabic word that means gold color. Among my peers, I am the last in a sense. My impure form was isolated in 1824 by heating a mixture of potassium and my fluoride. My pure form, isolated in 1925, has been found to be resistant to the corrosive environment inside atomic reactors and also to acids and alkalis. I am the last when metallic elements are arranged in an alphabetical order with an... Yes, Fanny. Yes, Fanny. You are right. Last one. I am a 3-digit odd number between 100 and 200. The product of all my digits is a 2-digit odd cube. My digits are distinct. The sum of my digits is 13. My last digit is an exact square. Yes, Fanny.
149.
That's incorrect. Who rang next? Who rang next? Yeah, go ahead. Yes, Sahine.
C'est Madame Pitia. 147.
No.
Some final there last year. Nail-biting moments, I have to say. Just 1 point separating the winners from the second place team. And I have to say that for most of the neutrals who were watching, West Africa Senior High School deserves to have won last year's competition because of how far they traveled and how they worked so far. Nancy, you were there. You saw these students. You interacted with them all the way up. Tell us about how they did it.
West Africa Senior High School. In fact, the very first time I met them was during their arrivals. And they told me that, yes, they were there last year and they were able to go to the quarterfinals. And so this year they were coming stronger and better. I mean, looking at the contest they were in during the entire competition, in all of those contests, you would never believe that they could beat them. Especially,
nobody gave them a dog's chance.
Nobody gave them that chance. In fact, if you look at WAS with Prempeh College and also Krobo Girls, it was a big one. And, you know, it was like a done deal. It was like a walkover for Prempeh because they were the defending champions at the time. And so they came in their numbers, and you would see that, yes, there's going to be a contest. But then WAS gave them a run for their money. There were also other shocks. We had the likes of Sunrise Senior High School beating...
They were first-timers?
First-timers, debutants. They beat Opokuware. They had 49. Opokuware had 46. And then also, one school, the school with the highest wins in this National Science and Math quiz, Presec, they were kicked out by Infantipim. Infantipim had 50, and guess what? Presec had 31 points. But one of the lowest scores we had recorded in the quarterfinals of this last year's National Science and Math quiz was with Bolga Girls. Bolga Girls came in this year. They were not so strong, but they managed. In fact, they were able to win almost all their contests. So they went to meet Infantipim. Infantipim in that contest had 60 points. Nandom Senior High School had 13. And guess what Bolga girls had? They had 3.
3 points.
3 points. It was disappointing, but they told me that they didn't even expect to get there. And so it was a good deal for them. So in fact, all the underdogs tried. They managed to pull some surprises.
Well, let me this year we know that at least only 12 all-girls schools are participating in the competition out of the 135 schools that have qualified to be at this year's showpiece. We know that Infantiman girls are not going to be at this year's competition. St. Rose's are also not going to be in the competition. We'll be speaking about some other schools that did not make it, but let me run by you some of the record holders at the National Science and Maths Quiz. We have Presec Legon. They are the record champions. They hold 5 trophies to their name. 1995 they won, 2003 they won, 2006 they won, 2008 and 2009. We also have Prempeh College. They are next with 4 trophies to their name. They won in 1994, 1996, 2015 and 2017. We also have St. Peter's. They are the next with 3 trophies to their name, 2000, 2005 and 2018. We also have Achimota School and Opokuware as well as Infantsipim on 2 trophies each. The rest can brag of just 1 point. There are many other schools who, have been at the competition. Though they've not won it, they've given good accounts of themselves so far. We know that some of them are represented at this year's competition. In a short while, we will be joined by coordinator of Prime Time to give us some details about preparations that have gone into this year's competition. We know that 10 regions, 135 schools, but I have to add that at the time the competition started at the preliminary stages, we still had 10 regions of the country, and so the schools are from 10 regions. Mr. Yankee will be joining me shortly. Thank you very much, Mr. Yankee, for your time here on Joy News. Tell us about preparation so far. I imagine it must be a lot of work traveling the length and breadth of the country, organizing these competitions. How tiring was it?
Yes, so far we've done the regional competitions, and that involved traveling to all the 10 regions, nationwide, to organize these regional competitions. And we had to select 108 schools, which meant that in every region we had a particular quota of schools that we had to select. In all, it was an exciting journey, traveling the length and breadth of the country. It all ends today with the launch, and in fact it's the start of the national championship. The schools, even some from the Upper East, Upper West region, are on their way coming down. So tomorrow and Thursday, the schools will be arriving. And then on Friday and Saturday, we'll have our Scitech Fair, the 3rd edition of the Scitech Fair. Then the competition will kickstart from there with the balloting, and then the actual quiz will start on Monday.
Okay, tell us about last year you introduced the money zone at the competition. This year, you're continuing with the money zone, and what are some of the other innovations you'd say that has been introduced?
Yes, so the money zone came in last year. That was sponsored by GCB Bank. So at the quarterfinal stage, each point was worth 5 Ghana cedis. At the semi-final stage, it was worth 10 Ghana cedis. And then at the grand finale, the point was worth 15 Ghana cedis. So that is still on this year, sponsored by GCB Bank. We also have the NSMQ Star, which is sponsored by Prudential Life Insurance Ghana. So, in round 3, we have the problem of the day. That problem is worth 10 points. Now, the introduction, the new thing this year is that for any school that scores 10 out of 10, a perfect score of 10 in this 3rd round or the problem of the day, at the preliminary stage, is going to fetch them 500 Ghana cedis. That will come from Prudential Life Insurance Ghana. At the 1/8 stage, that is going to be 1,000 cedis. At the quarterfinal stage, that's going to be 1,500 Ghana cedis, in that order. Yeah.
I'm also learning about some innovation with respect to the problem of the day, solving the problem of the day question. We know that some students do not have good handwritings. The quiz mistress, Dr. Elsie Efa Kaufman, had cause to complain about the handwriting of some of the students. We know that something is going to change this year where the electronic board is going to be introduced. Tell us about it.
Yes, so we are hoping to introduce that sometime during the competition this year, probably not from the prelims, but before the end of the competition, we'll introduce that so we can ease the pressure on the contestants when they have to solve questions during the 3rd round, the problem of the day. Yeah.
Now, you've been speaking to these students and their teachers and their trainers. How prepared are they psychologically and, of course, academically for this year's competition?
Well, I think the schools are really prepared. What they even do on their own across the country is that they organize regional trials on their own. So we've heard of the trials in the Central region, Western region, Ashanti region. So even on their own, they try to prepare ahead of the competition. I mean, you could liken that to what happens in football when there is a major tournament. So like the Black Stars are in camp somewhere in Dubai, preparing, playing games here, and the schools do the same thing to show that they are really prepared. Certainly, if you were the defending champion this year, you'd also want to consolidate that position by preparing, trying to beat other schools. So and that's what all the schools are trying to do, and we are hoping that on the D-Day, when the competition starts on Monday, they can give up their best, and all that preparation can actually pay off.
Let me just get your thoughts on the prizes. You know, we're learning about some introduction of a trip to Dubai and Kenya on the cards. Is this a motivation enough for these students to give off their best?
Well, even before I talk about the trip to Kenya, I mean, academically, we have a lot of scholarships. So last year, 2 of the finalists won some scholarships. One is studying medicine at Accra College of Medicine. One is studying computer science and engineering at Academic City College. So what's happening this year is that as an add-on to that, all those prizes are still there. We have other scholarships, even some that are from a German university. And then we have the trip to Kenya and then to the United Arab Emirates, sponsored by Kenya Airways and Adansi Travels. That's going to be for all the 3 winners. So 3 contestants, 1 teacher along, and they are going to spend 10 days away. At least that is added motivation for them to work extra hard on the final day.
That sounds like very exciting and mouth-watering, and motivation enough for the students to give off their best. But before I let you go, can you just give us an overview of how the regional contest went and the schools that fell along the line? You know, what is the plan for some of these schools going forward?
Yes, so the format for the regional competition is such that once you win, you qualify for the national championships. So we have some schools that traditionally would have qualified for the competition but failed. Yasantoa Girls, we had somewhere from the Eastern region, St. Rose's, from the Brong-Ahafo region, the then Brong-Ahafo region, St. James Minor Seminary, big schools failing to qualify. For them, all they have to do is to go back to the drawing board, as it were, try to prepare again, put their acts together, and hopefully if we come around for next year's batch of regional competitions, they may qualify and they might see them. Infanteman girls also failed to qualify for the national championship. So a lot of big schools were slayed by what we call the giant slayers, the little schools, the lesser known schools, for want of a better word. And I think it goes to show that this year's edition will be one that we should all look out for.
We saw an introduction of the regional finals at this year's competition. Is it going to be a regular feature going forward?
Yes, it will be the regional championship. So we piloted it only in the Central and Greater Accra regions this year. And it was a big success. You know, usually what happens is that the seeded schools do not compete at the regionals.
Okay.
So once you are seeded, once you reach the quarterfinal stage and beyond at the national level, you automatically qualify. But some of them do not get enough time to prepare. They don't get enough competition. So you could still have a school that is seeded but come on to the national competition the following year and then fail to really show or put up a good performance. So the regional championship really helped them so they could hone their skills, test their contestants, see if they really have a good team that they could present this year. In Central region, it was really a delight to see St. Augustine's. They failed to qualify last year, and coming into the competition this year, they are coming like wounded lions. Yeah,
yes. We've been speaking to some of the old students of St. Augustine's, and they say they are roaring to win this time. Now, tell us about the trophies that are available for grabs at this year's competition. We hear it's a customized trophy.
Yes. So for the first time in the history of the National Science and Maths Quiz, we have a custom-made trophy. We'll be unveiling today as part of the launch of the 2019 edition. And then we have other exciting things that are coming up. The individual awards that we give out every year, the most impressive run, both contestants and teachers, the most outstanding female contestants, all those prizes are still up for grabs this year. And then we think that it will make the competition much more exciting.
All right, many thanks to you. You had the coordinator for the National Science and Maths Quiz. In a short while, my colleague Nancy Emefadradosi will be speaking to Managing Director of Multi-TV, Santok Singh, about some of what we here at Joy News are going to be having for you in terms of coverage and the plan for you. You're still here live at the British Council, where we're bringing you the official launch of this year's National Science and Maths Quiz Competition. It is the 26th edition of the competition. We are going to be bringing you all the action on television, on radio, online. Of course, you can join us on social media. Join us on the hashtag NSMQ on JoyNews. Join us. MFA, we heard from Mr. Yankee, and he's giving us all the details about what to expect. What are your expectations briefly before you speak to Mr. Santokh Singh? I'm expecting that for once we have a girls' school lifting the trophy. All right. So you heard my colleague Nancy Mfajado say she will be speaking to Santokh Singh in a very short while. Thank you very much, Santokh, for joining us. Over to you, Nancy. All right. So this is still our coverage of the launch of the 2019 National Science and Math Quiz. And I've been joined by my boss, Managing Director for the Multimedia Group. Thank you very much, sir. For our viewers at home, what should we be expecting differently this year?
Okay, in terms of differentiation, of course, we want to improve our production as compared to last year. I think last year was our first experience filming this show, so it was a learning process for us as well. I think we need to perfect more things that we do, because as we know during the contest, there's a lot of gaps, a lot of breaks. So we need to fill that up. We'll be very creative in filling that gap and everything. Apart from that, we will also be doing a lot of mentorship sessions. We want to showcase a lot of mentorships so that the home viewers can also benefit from the mentorship. That means not only you are part of the contest, but if you are not, you can also still benefit from it. I think another thing that we want to do, and we'll try to do, is also interaction with the home viewers in terms of how we can bring the quiz to also for the home viewers to also enjoy and participate. So that's something that we need to crack, and then we will talk about it. But otherwise, basically improving in terms of our production quality for the home viewers.
What then is also the way forward? Are we going to be seeing more years to come, the Multimedia Group partnering with Primetime for this production?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, it's like I'm even upset that why we didn't do this partnership earlier. But nevertheless, now it's better late than never. But this is our second year. Definitely, it's a very fruitful relationship between us and Primetime, the organizer of NSMQ, and we definitely hope that we do many more years to come. Not only for the benefit of our, for our partnership, but also for the people, for the audience and for the students, how they can take this contest as a learning and then improvise themselves. And we can see that all the past the success of the past contestants, how they have done well in their career, have they graduated and then they do well. So it's sort of like it's an example, set example for our future generation. So we'll continue to do that. And one thing that I also was approached last year was like a lot of people complimented us in terms of that they were able to watch the show from their home, which previous years they were unable to. So we brought the show to the homes that we never had experience of watching this. So that was something which was very meaningful for us. It's like sending, because as we know, our reach is like over 90% of the country and all that. We are able to be reached and all that, and we have a lot of penetration in all over the country. So a lot of people are watching us, and then it was like when you get the feedback, it feels good.
Let me just put you on the spot. I have a favorite in this contest, on this competition. Do you have any favorite, any school that you're gunning behind?
Okay, fortunately, I didn't study here, so I don't have an alma mater. But I have my favorite, which didn't win last year. They were in the finals last year, but I won't mention it.
You have to.
Yeah, at this school.
At this school?
Yeah.
Not my school. You know my schools at the finals last year too. West Africa Senior High School is my school.
Yes, okay.
So we are taking it back this year, or you disagree?
Okay, we can try.
But let me just put you on the spot. Last year I saw that you gave us some prizes, you gave us some gifts. Are we expecting something unique like that also this year?
Yeah, definitely we'll do something different this year and unique, so wait for the final.
All right, so you better wait for the final and make sure that you're tuned in to Joy News, and we're bringing you everything, nothing, I'm missing nothing. And I know that in this particular competition, we're going to be having Maxwell Agbagba by me. If you're watching last year, you realize that we brought you everything right from the very beginning to the finals, and it was amazing. But let me also say that this year, at the regional level, we had some giant slayers. And let me just run you by some of the contests and, you know, the schools that won. So for the Greater Accra, you had a school like Frafraha Community Senior High School getting some 34 points ahead of Accra High Senior High School, Amasama Senior High School, Presby Senior High School, 6. And then when we go to the Eastern region, a school like Mount Sinai Senior High School had 27, and they beat St. Rose's, they beat Benkum Senior High School, they beat Yellow Krobo, they beat Presby SHS Begro. And then we moved to the Ashanti region, the region that has the largest contestants, I guess. Yes. And they had in Sutaman Senior High School, garnering some 33 points ahead of Yasantua Senior High School and then Opon Memorial Senior High School. Then the Central region again, we had Asin State College getting some 38 points ahead of Agri Memorial Zion Senior High School, who are 32 points. Then the Upper East region, we had Boku Senior High Technical School coming tops with 21 points. We had Zamse Senior High Technical School, we had Sandema Senior High School and all of that. But I must say that as the event goes on, we're going to be getting some of the participants, the contestants who will be participating in this year's National Science and Math Quiz. And Komla, I better say that, yeah, you may not be on the grounds, but you're going to be missing. But for our viewers, Joy News, never a dull moment.
Absolutely. You need to stay tuned into your most reliable news source, Joy News. We will be bringing you all the contests live on television. It will be also on radio, online. And, of course, for those of you who follow us on social media, Facebook, you can follow us. The hashtag is hashtag NSMQ on Joy News. Let me just run by you briefly some of the girls' schools that are going to be represented at this year's competition. From the Eastern region, we have Ibri Girls and Kubo Girls Senior High Schools. In the Central region, we have Wesley Girls High School and Holy Child Senior High School. In the Ashanti region, we have St. Louis Girls Senior High School and Adventist Girls Senior High School. From the Volta region, we have Ula Girls Senior High School. Also, we have EPC Mauko Girls Senior High School. From the Western region, we have Archbishop Portes. And from the Upper East region, we have Bolga Girls who are going to be represented. And also, from the Bonafo region, we have Our Lady of Mount Carmel Girls Senior High School and Notre Dame Senior High School. So 12 all-girls schools are going to be at this year's competition. What does it say about, you know, the participation of females and how mathematics and science has over the years been described as a complex subject, and the girl child, you know, have not been able to essentially study?
I think that it's a process. Our girls are good, and I am certain that if it's not this year, next year, we're going to be having girls school winning. I mean, girls are they're gaining the grounds, they're coming tops. They're just left with something small, and I am sure that very soon it's going to be all girls every single year. But Komala, let me just say this. You went to Biheko.
Yes.
Bishop Herman Senior High School. And
Bishop Herman College.
Bishop Herman College. It's not a school, it's a college.
Yes.
Okay. I just must say that last year they brought so much energy.
Absolutely.
You know,
we are bringing much more energy this year, Nancy.
Just the jammer.
And
I hope you bring your...
We will go far, but I'm not too sure about winning, but we'll try, Nancy.
My school is going to win.
All the best to all the schools that are going to be participating. Let me quickly run by you events for the night. In a short while, we will be having the commencement of the official launch of a 26th edition of a National Science and Maths Quiz here. We'll have a welcome address by the Managing Director of Primetime Limited, Naneka and Kumasari, and we'll have some goodwill messages from sponsors. We will also have an address by Director of Innovation at the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, and then we'll have a keynote address by the Ghana Education Service Director General, Professor Kwesi Opoku Amankwa, and we will have the unveiling of the official trophy for this year's competition. So exciting times here on Joy News. If you're just joining us, you haven't missed so much. This is our live coverage of the launch of a 2019 edition of a National Science and Maths Quiz competition right here from the British Council. welcome back to our live coverage of the official launch of a 2019 edition of a National Science and Maths Quiz competition. Just before we went for that break, we heard from Managing Director of Multi-TV, Santok Singh, on what multimedia, in fact, JoyNews, will be bringing to you in terms of bigger and better programming or broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz. I've been joined by reps of the defending champion St. Peter's School, Emmanuel, Desmond, and then their trainer, Mr. Labi, are here with me. Guys, thank you very much. Welcome to JoyNews.
Thank you.
Okay, now, as defending champions, you are coming into this competition with a lot of expectations. How prepared are you?
Oh, we are well prepared for God to see us through to the end.
What sort of preparations have you done, up until this stage?
We've gone for trials and we've been doing...
You can speak up a bit.
We've gone for trials and we've done enough reading and things, so we hope that God will see us through to the end.
All right, Desmond, would you say you stand a chance of winning this thing again?
I have the hope that we'll be able to win this year's competition.
What makes you so confident?
Due to the preparations and the hard work we've invested into the competition.
All the other schools have also put in a lot of work. They've equally worked hard and prepared, especially knowing that you guys won the competition last year.
Yes, but we know that with God being on our side, God will still let us through so that we also maintain the cup.
Right. Mr. Labi, you have been training these students all these months. How
Yes.
much of work has gone into getting them to the stage at which they are now?
We have done a lot. We have done a lot with them. In fact, we have a special way of training. As usual, we start with the teaching, and then we continue with the quizzing, and then the watching of the previous contests, and then we also embark on a lot of training trips. Yes.
So you say that you stand a great chance of defending the title.
Exactly. In fact, now that we are having a new cup, a new model cup, in fact, yes, we are in to pick it.
That's a lot of motivation for you and your guys.
Exactly.
What is the thinking or the psychology of the boys, as they come to Accra and begin the contest? Would you say they are psychologically prepared for this?
Very well. I recall we went for the regional competition, and so many things, went on, which initially it seems some of our boys were a bit demoralized, but at least now they are on their feet, both physically and then mentally.
Let me take you back to last year, that final contest. You beat West Africa Senior High School by just a point. At that stage of a competition, as a school, what was going through your mind at that point? Were you praying that, WAS wouldn't get it correct and then you will lift the trophy? And when you eventually won, what was the emotion?
We met WAS. That was last year in our regional competition. They were invited. And then in the course of the competition, in fact, we got to the finals together with WAS and then Pojos. And then Pojos rather emerged the winner, and then followed by WAS. So we were third. And we had that mentality that no, we will not allow them to beat us twice. No way.
Okay,
and truly to be proved.
Let's take a look at the final riddle of last year's competition, that got all of us sitting on edge.
Last one. I am a 3-digit odd number between 100 and 200. The product of all my digits is a 2-digit odd cube. My digits are distinct. The sum of my digits is 13. My last digit is an exact square. Yes, Fanny. That's incorrect. Who rang next? Who rang next? Yeah, go ahead. Yes, Sahine.
Hey, Madam, 147.
I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of West Africa Senior High School or St. Peter's at last year's final. But what do you make of that competition? How did you win it? Do you know?
How we won that competition?
How did you do it?
Oh, it was, you could see that during the true or false, that was the time that throughout all the contest, we had not lost any true or false question, but there we lost one. And that didn't put us down at all. So after we attempted the riddle, the last riddle, and then we got it wrong. In fact, our prayer was that all the other schools should get it wrong, because you wouldn't go into a contest and pray for your opponent to get, no.
All right. Your final words, just before I let you go, Emmanuel and the rest of the team, what is your expectation at the end of a 2019 edition of a National Science and Maths Quiz? Would you have won the competition again?
We are not promising to win the competition, but we are just hoping that God will make our best the best.
You are being cautiously optimistic. How about you? You sharing his opinion?
We can't just say we win the competition, but we hope and we believe in the favor of God that He shall sail us through and we shall be able to make a mark this year.
All right, so you had there some students of St. Peter's and then their trainer. They are cautiously optimistic that they're going to win this competition. If you're just joining us, this is our live coverage of a 2019 launch of the National Science and Maths Quiz. At the moment, many of the schools are already seated. In a short while, we will be having the event start proper right here at the British Council. Officials of Primetime are here. We have some of the participating schools already representing here. We have, some of the production team members, some of the sponsors, and other well-wishers who are already here to witness the official launch of the event. So if you're just joining us, keep watching our live coverage here. And as we have promised, we will bring you all the action, all the contests on Joy News. We will bring you more. You can join us on Facebook, hashtag NSMQ on JoyNews. My colleague MFR Nancy Jadosi will be joining me with details of the balloting that is going to be happening in the auditorium in a short while. Should give us all. We are learning that in the ballot session A, we have all the schools that performed brightly or performed best at the regional level seated in the ballot A session. Nancy, tell us about the balloting and how is it going to shape up? Do we know?
Okay, so if you've been following National Science and Maths Quiz, you know that the balloting is done usually at the RS Amekashi Hall, where the schools are called one after the other. You walk in there, you pick your school, and then, but what they did was that the seeding schools were already in there, so the plot one, you were there. The other schools you're called, you pick, okay, and then you're placed with a number. But this time around, they had regional contests. So all the schools, all the higher scoring schools at the regional level will be on the plot 1. Then followed by the second ranked schools, plot 2, like that, so the very last one. And so this year, the balloting is quite different and it's unique.
And would you say it would give some people an unfair advantage, would you say?
I don't think it would give them an unfair advantage. I feel that, if you're the best in your region, that means you should have some weight. And so it comes with some form of responsibility. And so it would make you want to work harder, rather than just being picked and pairing at any point at all. So I think this is actually very good.
Certainly, we have some innovations. We are learning about the introduction of the digital board at the Problem of the Day session of the competition. Officials of Primetime have told us that they're looking to introduce that along the line in the competition, so they do away with the manual handwriting of the Problem of the Day solutions. And we know that quiz mistress Dr. Elsie Efa Kaufman has had cause to complain about some of the handwritings that some of the pupils and contestants put up here. But Nancy, tell us about the underdogs. This year, we have Sunrise coming back. Last year, they surprised many people, actually defeated some of the top schools.
They defeated Opokuware Senior High School.
And I have to say, Opokuware Senior High School are record two-time champions of the competition. They defeated them, and they're back this time. What are they bringing on board?
I am just hoping that they're coming this time bigger and better. Because last year, I remember when they beat Opokwari Senior High School, when they went into their next contest, all the neutrals, the observers who came were all rallying behind them, because we just wanted, we wanted something new.
Yeah.
And so for Sunrise, a school out of nowhere, somewhere in the Volta region, all of a sudden just coming out to beat Opokwari Senior High School. That was big. And I'm sure that this year we're going to be having...
Certainly, we're going to be having even more underdogs coming up and springing surprises. It promises to be exciting, an exciting edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Well, your station of choice to follow all the action, all the backstories, all the interaction with the contestants. And we will now see some of the qualifiers from the Eastern region. Let's have that now.
It was a big surprise for many watching one of the female model schools in Ghana, St. Rose's Senior High School, defeated by a lesser-known school, Hak Mount Sinai Senior High School, in the National Science and Maths Quiz. It appears the cliché of big schools dominating in intellectual battles is becoming a thing of the past. The contest, which was between St. Rose's SHS, Benkum SHS, H. Mount Sinai SHS, Bergro SHS, and Yellow Krobo SHS, was one of the keenly contested competitions and an interesting one. At the end of the contest, H. Mount Sinai SHS recorded the same points with St. Rose's SHS. There was a tie between the two schools, and H. Mount Sinai defeated St. Rose's in the runoff.
Joining the points, A, -2.5, and B, 6, -9. Yes, St. Rose's?
2.
That's incorrect. H. Mount Sinai?
2 minus 2.
You are right. At the end of the contest, Presby SHS Begor has 7 points. Yellow Krobo SHS has 15 points. Benkum SHS has 20 points. St. Rose's has 24 points. And H. Mount Sinai has 27 points. Congratulations, H. Mount Sinai.
71 schools in the Eastern region registered to compete in this year's National Science and Maths Quiz, but only 68 showed up at the contest. Out of the lot, 14 were selected to join 5 Cedar schools to represent the Eastern region at the national contest. Nifa SHS, Ibuakwa State College, Kwabeng Anglican SHTS, Oteng Boateng SHS, H. Mount Sinai SHS, Pope John SHS, Asimankese SHS, Xavier SHS, Akwemuman SHS, Inkwetia Presby SHS, Osino Presby SHS, Ghana SHS, Adonting SHS, and Oforipenying SHS. The 5 Cedar schools are Koforidua SHTS, New Draben SHS, St. Peter's SHS, Krobo Girls SHS, and Ibri Girls SHS. The last contest between Kwewu Ridge SHTS, Edukrom Presby SHTS, Oforipenying SHS, Apegusu SHS, and Pentecost SHS was also exciting. Pentecost SHS struggled to make an impact, but came to naught. They had to substitute a contestant when the going got tough. Oforipenying SHS won the contest. A female student from Oforipenying SHS says the females would dominate this year's contest and show to the world that they have what it takes to excel in math and science.
We are ensuring you that at the finals, at least we'll get some girls also contesting, because as he said, it deals with hard work. So when we put it in our mind that the girls, the females especially, who are going to work very hard, we can come for the contest too.
Otibuaten Senior High School scored 74 points, emerging as the highest score in the regional contest. Mrs. Rachel Ano is a quiz mistress, and she tells JoyNews some weakness and strength she identified during the contest and advised teachers to work at it.
Generally, the students have done well.
especially some schools aiming at 70 plus. That was a very brilliant performance. But when you look at the chemistry aspect of the rounds, especially round one, the chemistry balancing of equation, the more concepts, most of the schools were getting it wrong. So I believe their weakness was with chemistry and then a little bit of physics. But I believe when they put in more practices and then more of solving the past questions and stuff, they will do well.
So you just watched the Eastern Regional contest there, right there, brought to you. We will be crossing over in a very short while into the auditorium where many of the participating schools are seated, and we will be waiting for the event to start in a very short while. But very soon we'll show you also the Central Regional contest, how it all went down in the Central Region. But Nancy, tell us about, we know that the competition is expected to start on 17th of June. But before then, what will be the itinerary for the participating schools from now till then?
All right, so tomorrow and the 13th of June would be the day for arrival.
Okay.
And those days are quite exciting because, you know, they arrive with so much excitement because some of them, this is the first time they're doing it. And so it's a mixed feeling. They go to their room. You should see them when they're doing the packing and all of that. It's quite interesting. Then we have the Scitech Fair, which is happening on the 14th and on the 15th.
Okay.
I had the privilege of being there last year, and the things that these students make, they're mind-blowing. And this is not limited to only the senior high schools. In fact, there were basic school pupils over there. They were creating, you know, socket bulbs, you know, and it was just beautiful. Some actually came out with how to generate solar power and using it for our street lights. And they were amazing. Some came up with helicopters that would fertilize your farm. Some came up with, you know, dustbins that you don't need to touch, but then it will open. So, I mean, beautiful works that were done by these students. And I'm sure that this year, you're going to be expecting even bigger and better.
And I have to say that apart from the learning of the maths and science, some of these students or these contestants are taking through mentorship sessions. They're going to be having times with industry captains and other role models and mentors. Nancy, tell us about some of the mentorship sessions that went on last year. And would you say that the students benefited from these sessions?
Indeed, I must say that it's one of the best things that happened to the students during the entire competition. I mean, so for people that study science, they need a lot of motivation to also continue. And so bringing out people who are giants in the industry gives the students a lot of motivation. I remember that at a point, you know, the students kept asking questions. So if I take this course, what do I get to do? If I do this, what happens? And so so they leave the auditorium with something in their minds about a career path they want to pick. And so the mentorship sessions were really, really, really productive. And I'm sure that it's going to be happening again.
So we're expecting even more exciting, more impactful sessions at this year's edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz. We're expecting 76 contests in all and one coveted trophy. I have to say that this year's National Science and Maths Quiz competition is brought to you by Primetime Limited in partnership with the Ghana Education Service through CHAS, and it has some other sponsors. We will be acknowledging all our sponsors later on in the show. Let's take a look now at the Central Regional Contest and how it all went down.
of 27 schools that were seeded at the national level, 6 of them were from the central region: Infantipim, Adisadel College, Ghana National College, University Praxis Senior High School, Holy Child, and Wesley Girls. These seeded schools need no mention as far as the National Science and Math Quiz is concerned. The maiden regional championship was held on the hills of Infantipim School. St. Augustine's College had fallen from the Grace from a 1/8 stage elimination in 2017. Their woes deepened after the Aguna lads, Swedro Senior High School, used them to get onto the map in the 2018 qualifiers. The Seasiders were silenced in 2018 as well. For 2 years, Ogasco lost their bragging right as they just had to accept watching the National Science and Math Quiz on TV instead of participating in the national competition. St. Augustine's College, it appears, want to stay as they mark a return to the National Science and Math Quiz after 2 years of absence. Ogasco beat University Praxis Senior High School and Wesley Girls Senior High School in the finals to emerge the maiden champions and coincidentally qualify for the national championship in June.
At the end of this exciting contest, here are the final scores. Wesley Girls High School, 28 points. University Praxis Senior High School, 31 points. St. Augustine's College, 50 points.
Though at par with University Praxis Senior High School, at the end of the first round with Wesley Girls trailing with 14 points, Ogasco jumped the lead in round 2 and there seemed to be no stopping them. They won the final round with a whopping 50 points with University Praxis on 31 points. Before heading to the final, St. Augustine's College had beaten Apam Senior High School, Ghana National College, Breman Esikuma Senior High School, and Boa Amponsem Senior High School in the first regional contest.
The last riddle. I am a theorem in mechanics. Apam.
Bernard Lamy's theorem.
You're right. At the end of this exciting contest, here are the final scores. Buamponsem Senior High School, 12 points. Breman Esikuma Senior High School, 21 points. Ghana National College, 26 points. Apam Senior High School, 43 points. St. Augustine's College, 44 points.
University Praxis Senior High School also beat last year's finalists at Adisadel College, who have already booked a place for the Nationals, Swedro SHS and Edinaman Senior High School to make the final. Where Gehe had seen off Infantipim School, T.I. Amase Kumfi, Asin State College and Winneba Senior High School to make it to the regional finals. The likes of Infantipim, Adisadel and Wesley Girls Senior High Schools were all tipped as favourites to win, but St. Augustine's College had different ideas. Surely, the national competition will clearly determine where any of these schools stand.
right there you had it, the Central Regional Contest in pictures you just saw there right on the screens. And it promised to be more exciting, bigger, better. I have to run by you once again the trophies and the prizes that are at stake at the 26th edition of a National Science and Maths Quiz Competition. We know that 40,000 CDs will go to the winner, plus a trophy, a customized trophy, I have to say. We'll have 15,000 CDs for the teacher and his teaching staff who accompany the team to the competition. We also have the second place team winning some 30,000 Ghana cedis, and the teacher and his teaching staff who accompany the team will be taking home some 10,000 cedis, and then the contestants themselves will also take 10,000 cedis home. And then we also have a third place team which will be taking 20,000 cedis cash prize. The teacher and his teaching staff accompanying the team will take home 5,000 cedis, and the students, that's the contestants, 3 of them, will take home 5,000 cedis. And aside these cash prizes, we know about the money zone. It will also be happening. It started last year. We also have some sponsored trips to Kenya and Dubai. We had the coordinator of Primetime telling us about that. Most of these students, we are learning, are motivated and geared up for this year's competition because of the mouth-watering prize packages that are available. And of course, we will be bringing you all the excitement right here on your most reliable news source, JoyNews. We'll be live on radio, on television, of course, online. You can join our Facebook page. We will be bringing you the action right there as well. You can follow the hashtag NSMQ on JoyNews. And once again, 135 schools competing, 76 contests we are hearing. 12 female schools, all female schools are going to be at this competition. Some individuals feel that it is time for a female to win this trophy. Well, for me, it's been the official launch of the National Science and Maths Quiz Competition. I did this with MFA Nancy Jadose. Let's hand over now to my colleague, the birthday boy, Kojo Yankson.
Let's put our hands together for the St. Thomas Aquinas School Choir. Let's hear it again for them. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the British Council here in Accra, where we're about to witness history. It is the launch of the 2019 National is the Director of Science and Education Unit at the Ghana Education Service. Mr. Richard Kweku is with Cosmos Energy. Please, let's keep the applause going. Dr. Kweku Mensah-Bonsu is the Chairman of Primetime. Dr. Shine Ofori is National Treasurer for CHAS. Mr. Santok Singh is the MD for Multi-TV. Dr. Douglas Edujemfi with the National Science and Maths Quiz Consultant for Mathematics. Dr. Ebenezer Owusu is the Consultant for Biology. Professor William Asumening is the Consultant for Chemistry. Also with us, Dr. Enoch Denchi is the Consultant. Mrs. Gladys Schwinger, the mistress. Dr. Selma Onimese, also a mistress. And the National Science and Maths. mentioned her. She is the Managing Director of Primetime. Let's put our hands together as she comes up. Mrs. Nanekia Ankoma Asare. Next is a man who has been at the helm of affairs with the board of Primetime. He's the chairman, Dr. Kweku Mensah Bonsu. Also joining us up here is the Director of Science at the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Ms. Adelaide Asante. CHAS is represented up here tonight by their National Treasurer, Mrs. Shine Ofori. Now, from the Ghana Education Service, we have a Deputy Director for Quality and Access. Let's put our hands together for Dr. Kwabena Tando. All right, well, it's time for us to hear from the lady who steers affairs and makes this all come together every year. As she comes up to give her welcome address, let's make our applause loud for Nana Ikuya Ankoma Asare.
Thank you, Kojo. Dr. Kwabena Petando, Deputy Director General, Quality and Access, representing the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Ms. Adelaide Asante, Director of Science at the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, our ever-supportive sponsors, CHAS, our sponsors who support us every year, Dr. Kweku Mensah Bonsu, Chairman, Primetime, special invited guests, heads of schools here present, teachers, students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a warm welcome to the National Championship of the National Science and Maths Quiz 2019 edition, or for short, NSMQ 2019. We are very happy to have you here with us today. It has been a very long journey this past year. We've had a lot of activities that have led to today, the planning stages, through to the recce, balloting, regional competitions, regional championships, and here we are today at the launch of the National Championship. We have spent a lot of time quizzing the students along the way. We can assure you of the quality of the competitions that we are going to see this year. We have also seen the innovation and creativity of the students who exhibited at the regional Scitech fair and took away some nuggets of wisdom from the mentors who came to us at the regions. NSMQ 2019 promises to be very exciting. At the Nationals, as you well know, it's a festival that has 5 events. We have the quiz, which is the flagship, the mentorship sessions, the Scitech fair, the picnic, tours, and we hope that the representatives of the schools will take the opportunity to explore as much as possible all the events and activities that we offer them. We also hope that you, our supporters and fans and special invited guests, will also explore all the activities that we have carefully planned and provided for you. We assure you that you will have a great time. This year, as always, we have some innovations on board. I will not want to go too much into detail here. You will see it in action because a picture says more than words do. So all these activities that we've been mentioning have been made possible by the Ghana Education Service, GES, our main sponsor of the quiz. We have GCB Bank giving us the money zone again. We have Goyle, who is our sponsor for the Scitech and Mentorship, actually our official fuel provider for this year. Please give them a hand. They are doing so well for us. I'd like to say thank you to our other supporting sponsors, Academic City, Accra College of Medicine, who are giving us scholarships. We also have the Freshman Institute from Aachen University in Germany, also giving us scholarships. We would like to say thank you to Adanse Travels and Kenya Airways. They are giving us a really mouth-watering package for our winners and our quiz mistress. You'll hear more about it as the night unfolds. We'd also like to say a big thank you to our sponsors of the special prizes, the Banfo family, and Mr. Bubune Adi. Last but not least, would like to say a really, 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 really big thank you. Please express that in an applause for Multi TV. Led by JoyNews for all the wonderful things that you are seeing here today. We are live, and we'll be live many more times before the end of this season. I'd like to say thank you to Prudential Life Insurance. They are giving us some more exciting stuff in the quiz itself. They are sponsoring the NSMQ Star. The NSMQ Star is a new award this year, which is being given for the school that gets a perfect score of 10 in the problem of the day round. That is round 3. So special shout out to Prudential Life Insurance for that. I would like to end by commending all the heads of the schools, the regional directorates of education, the teachers, the students, for all the hard work that you put into preparing the teams for the program. It's a year-long preparation, and we are grateful for all your efforts. Dear students, we are here again to make history. Would like to wish you the very best of luck as you start your campaign to claim the title, the coveted title of NSMQ champions. St. Peter's, I don't want to put pressure on you, but I would like to encourage you to equal Presec's record of successfully defending their championship. That would be a wonderful thing, wouldn't it? Yes. So thank you all very much for coming, and enjoy the evening. We hope to see you at all the events as the month unfolds. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Now, I mentioned earlier that this is fast becoming the nation's favorite pastime, and it's not an exaggeration. We all went to one school or the other, and the National Science and Maths Quiz gives us the opportunity to express our pride in our various alma mater at a time like this. And so I'm sure last year we all got very excited by the competition, especially because of the national coverage that it got on JoyNews. Well, we're going to have a very quick look at the reason why the whole nation went crazy for the National Science and Maths Quiz and why they're doing it again this year, because the regional qualifiers were brutal. Check this out.
For the past 26 years, the National Science and Maths Quiz and Science Festival has not only promoted the study of science and mathematics in senior high schools, but has also generated an interest in science education in the general public. That aside, the program has to a large extent helped to demystify science and mathematics and the learning of these subjects among senior high school students. The NSMQ has also helped promote healthy rivalry among senior high schools. The 2018 edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz was nothing but an absolute ecstasy. There were the highs and the lows, the joy and the pain, the shrieks of victory and the tears of loss, the surprises and the power for the cause. The excitement and the shocks of the competition started right from the preliminary stage when Sunrise SHS, then a new entrant to the competition, beat two-time NSMQ champions Opokuwari School to make it to the 1/8 stage of the competition. An unprecedented feat, their win earned the debutants from Ho a lot of fans from the auditorium and on social media. And then came the 1/8 stage of the competition, where the seeded schools from 2017 joined the race, the beginning and the end of the journey for some of them. Anglo Senior High School was one of the schools that lost their seeded spot at the 1/8 stage of the competition. They were beaten by Sandema Senior High Technical School, which may be considered as a lesser-known school, and by this accomplishment did themselves and their region, Upper East, proud by getting seeded for the 2019 edition of the quiz. And it is worthy to mention that they are the only seeded school from the Upper East region. Nifa Senior High School, St. Hubert's Minor Seminary Senior High School and Eduman Senior High School were among the schools that lost their seeded spots in the 2018 edition of the NSMQ, making way for Kobo Girls Senior High School, Accra Academy and Islamic Senior High School, Kumasi.
Yes.
The first quarter-final contest saw record holders Presbyterian Boys Senior High School, 5-time winners of the NSMQ, packing back to school after Infansipum School gave them a heavy thrashing, quashing their dreams of further strengthening their record by winning the competition for the 6th time. Meanwhile, on the blind side of many, St. Peter's Senior High School, coming all the way from the regionals, was steadily and stealthily climbing the ladder to the grand finale. The semi-final stage contests were characterized by strong emotions of both pain and joy, of dreams being shattered and of hopes being rekindled. Adisadel College, one-time winner of the NSMQ, for the 4th consecutive time made it to the grand finale after beating their city rivals Infansipum School and Ghana National College, renewing hope in their fans and supporters of a possible second win.
Right. They solved the riddle on the
West Africa Senior High School, the discovery of the 2018 edition of the NSMQ, were resilient and absolutely unbeatable in their semi-final contest, kicking the then reigning champions Prempeh College out of the competition and dashing their hopes of winning their 5th trophy and being at par with NSMQ record holders Pusek Legon. After 12 years of not being able to make it to the final stage of the NSMQ, Low-key St. Peter's Senior High School beat Maoli School and Keta Senior High Technical School to make it to the grand finale. For varied reasons, all the 3 finalists were anticipating a win. Adisadel College to win the trophy for the 2nd time, St. Peter's Senior High School to win the trophy for the 3rd time after a 14-year drought, and West Africa Senior High School to win the trophy for the 1st time. After a nerve-wracking contest that saw everyone at the National Theatre and everyone watching the live stream sitting on pins and needles, St. Peter's Senior High School won the much-coveted title by 1 point, leaving West Africa Senior High School in 2nd place and Adisadel College in 3rd place. But all of that was last year. Let's take a look at NSMQ 2019 and the developments leading to this national championship. The NSMQ 2019 journey started with a regional competition where 108 schools won their respective contests to join the 27 seeded schools to compete at the national championship. In all, 451 schools participated in the regional competitions, with each of them giving their best performance to make their cut for the national championship. And as usual, a lot of surprises sprang up as giants were slayed, tears flowed as hopes of making it to the national championship were ruined, and joy filled their respective auditoriums as dreams of making it to the national championship came true. Mfansiman Girls Senior High School, one of the only 2 girls' schools who have ever made it to the final stage of an NSMQ and a force to reckon with in the competition, was unable to make it to the national championship. In their contest with Winneba Senior High School, Adankoman Senior High School and Maurice Senior High Technical School, Mfansiman Girls Senior High School were vanquished by Winneba Senior High School, who won with 45 points, leaving the girls in second place, trailing with 19 points. Perpetual NSMQ qualifiers Agri Memorial Senior High School also failed to make it to the national championship, as Asin State College, considered the underdog in this contest, defied all odds to defeat Agri Memorial in a highly competitive contest. In the Ashanti region, Ya Asantewa girls, although tipped by many to win their contest, were defeated by Nsutaman Senior High School in a close fight. In the Greater Accra region, first-timers Fafraha Community Senior High School did themselves proud by beating Accra High School, Presby Senior High School Tema, and Amasaman Senior High School, and making it to the national championship on their first attempt competing at the regionals. From the Volta region, Adaklu Senior High School, also making their first appearance at the regional level, beat their contenders Sokode Senior High Technical School, Wovenu Senior High School, and Abutia Senior High Technical School to qualify for the national championship. There was sheer ecstasy among the teachers and students of Adaklu Senior High School, as they could not believe their first attempts at the regionals had seen them qualifying to the national championship. Kwabing Anglican Senior High School and Hakmont Sinai Senior High School, both from the Eastern region, Bakpo Senior High School from the Volta region, and Amantin Senior High School from the Brong Ahafo region also won their respective contests to make it to the national championship for the first time. The 2019 edition of the regional competitions recorded some very impressive scores, with Kumasi High School coming tops with 77 points. Oti Boatin Senior High School was second in line with 74 points, and Kumasi Academy came in third place with 70 points. Apart from the competition, Scitech fairs were held in the regions, where a number of exhibitors displayed interesting projects and inventions. Mentorship sessions were also held in all the regions, and mentors were available on all contest days to share their experiences with the students and inspire them to pursue careers in science, mathematics, and technology. Every year, Primetime makes the efforts to make the competition better by introducing new strategies, and this year, it started right from the regional level, where the regional championship was introduced. For starts, the regional championship was piloted in 2 regions, Greater Accra and Central regions. With all the competing schools determined to upstage their competitors and to make it to the final stage of the regional championship, the audience witnessed some fierce as well as thrilling contests. In the Central region, the contest that featured Apam Senior High School and St. Augustine's College, for instance, was a nail-biting one. Apam Senior High School gave St. Augustine's College a tough time, but eventually, St. Augustine's College proved to be the better of the two. Another contest worthy of note was the one that featured University Practice Senior High School, Adisado College, Edinaman Senior High School, and Swedro Senior High School, where University Practice Senior High School won the competition by a hair's breadth of 1 point. In the Greater Accra region, Chimu SHS was resilient, kicking NSMQ record holders Presec Legon out of the first stage of the regional championship with a 15-point margin. Achimota School and Accra Academy matched boot for boot in the first stage of the championship, but in the end, Achimota School won the contest by 1 point to make it to the grand finale of the championship. St. Thomas Aquinas Senior High School was the only seeded school in the Greater Accra region to make it to the grand finale of the championship. It was exciting to see the 2019 regional qualifiers compete with the respective region's seeded schools from the 2018 edition of the program. And in both regions, it was even more exciting to see regional qualifiers St. Augustine's College in the Central region and Achimota School in the Greater Accra region ousting the Cedar schools in their respective regions to win the championship. A hint for the Cedar schools to go back to their drawing boards. The regional championship received a lot of positive feedback from teachers and regional coordinators of their respective regions. And hopefully in the subsequent years, Prime Time would make the effort to extend the regional championship to other regions.
The schools that qualified for the national championship, when they took part in the regional championship, after qualifying, saw that, in fact, for national level, there's more to be done.
One beauty of the program was it brought us more closer to the national competition. Ideally, the Cedar school that waited for people to finish their preliminary stage before they join them on stage. However, because of the regional championship, it has given us that feel to know how it is, what we should do. And most of us, looking at the stage alone was so refreshing. In particular, I've enjoyed it. I'm still feeling like it's something that has happened at the national level. Not until they announced that this regional championship, I thought we were at the national.
The regional competitions were nothing but a delight, and we are expecting nothing less at the national championship. The battle lines have been drawn, and we are all set for yet another captivating edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz and Science Festival. Are you ready? The 2019 edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz and Science Festival is sponsored by the Ghana Education Service, with support from GOIL, GCB Bank, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, Academic City College, Vimto, Adansi Travels, Kenya Airways, Medifair Multi-Specialist Hospital and Fertility Center, Accra College of Medicine, Akron University, 7th Avenue Foundation, Mathematica, Enter Varsity, Addition.store, GTP, Hottie Makeup, Chicas Beats, and Pink Pearl. Our media partners are JoyNews, Joy FM, and My Joy Online.
If there's one thing the National Science and Maths Quiz has taught us, it's that Ubia Yobia. I think for this initiative, which is contributing to the improvement of education generally across Ghana. In my school, St. Augustine's College, they've set up a purpose-built center to train students for the National Science and Maths Quiz. That's just one example. Let's give them a round of applause for that. All right, so here's how the rest of the evening is going to go. We'll hear some goodwill messages from our sponsors. We'll also hear an address from the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. The Ghana Education Service will also give the keynote address. And then we will unveil the National Science and Maths Quiz Trophy for 2019. This will all be interspersed with some music from the St. Thomas Aquinas SHS Choir. So let's get started. First, I want us to acknowledge some of the sponsors who make this competition possible. Please, let's make our applause loud. They're here with us in the audience. From GOIL, let's welcome Mr. Robert Chire. From GCB, we have three representatives, Nana Kwesi Akwe, Mr. Elvis Danso, and Mr. Emmanuel Kojo Kwating. Academic City is here tonight, and they're represented by Ms. Lorna Korte and Ms. Mabel Tonety. I hope I've said that right. Forgive me. Let's put our hands together for the representative from Vimto, Nanaya Osai Adai. From Prudential Life Insurance, we have two representatives, Mr. James Wood and Mrs. Frances Ofori. And from GTP, 2 representatives, Mr. Yehoshua Wright and Mr. David KB Abuaje. Now, 4 of our sponsors will give us some very, very short but very important addresses, goodwill messages, if you will. So let's begin. From Goyle, Mr. Robert Chire. Mr. Chire is the manager of public relations for Goyle.
Thank you, Kojo. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, all protocols observed. It gives me a great pleasure to present these remarks on behalf of Goyle, and I bring you fraternal greetings from our management and staff. Once again, we are here, and Goyle is honored to be associated with this positive impacting program for the 3rd consecutive year as the platinum sponsor. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, sponsoring this program is in line with our corporate social intervention strategy. This is also in line with our corporate mission that goes beyond the provision of quality products and services. As the #1 oil marketing company and the biggest indigenous market.
So we're crossing over to the British Council Hall for our live coverage of the National Science and Maths Quiz launch. We have Dr. Kwabena Bempatando of the Ghana Education Service, Director General, Deputy in charge of Education, Quality and Access. He's speaking right now.
The launch of the National Science and Math Quiz. I also bring you greetings from the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, and the leadership of both the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service. We'd like to take the opportunity to express our profound gratitude to the organizers, Primetime, for this kind invitation. Madam Chair, if you permit me, I would like to tell a story. Some 26 years ago, when this quiz competition was started, I was a student at Prempeh College. And I remember the same enthusiasm that we still have today in terms of the National Math and Science Quiz. At the time, it used to be called Brilliant Math and Science Quiz. And I just want to bring your mind to the team at Prempeh College. There was one particular young man on there, and I will not mention his name. But I will fast forward to the year 2011. I had the opportunity to meet Professor Mariam Ramade of blessed memory. And we became very good friends. We became fast friends. To the point that within a few years, or within a year, she was inviting me to her home, and I was eating in her house, and we had a lot of very good conversations. But she told me an interesting story towards the end of her life. She said that she had a back problem, and after her back problem, she had a surgery. And after the surgery, there was an unrelated health issue that brought her to the Kolebu Hospital. And she said every morning, while she was a inpatient at Kolebu, after the usual ground rounds of the doctors, another young man will come to her bedside. And this young man will always check what the other doctors had done. And she said after about the 3rd day, she mustered the courage to ask the young man, why do you keep coming to my bedside? And the young man simply said, Madam, because that's what we all call her. Madam, you may not remember me, but in 1994, you quizzed me like crazy. And you made me who I am today, a medical doctor here at Kolebu, and I'm talking about Johnny Sobote. I think that story exemplifies why this is important that it continues. Because it exemplifies the importance of paying it forward. And that what we do today sometimes is to secure our own future. And when we prepare our students well, it is to secure our own future. Madam Chair, this occasion is yet another important step in our collective pursuits of this laudable goal of quality education and national development. The constant attention of the nation, and we all know just from some of the videos we have watched that it is a constant attention to the point that very big people in this country shiver when their school is facing another school. The constant attention paid by this nation on the National Science and Math Quiz signifies the importance that we all place on this event, but it also reveals our desire for a better nation. This indicates our commitment to the truism that education is the single most important investment that we can and must make for our next generation. We all do recognize in this country and as a people that we must focus on discovery and development of talent. The government believes strongly in this and believes strongly in science and math as a central and critical role in the development of our nation. And the government has committed through the Education Sector Plan, or the Education Strategic Plan, ESP of 2018 to 2030, to increase the enrollment in science-related programs in our universities and tertiary institutions from about 28% to about 60% in the next 12 years. How do we do this? The government has requested from the World Bank an extension of the Secondary Education Improvement Project to extend the improvement of teaching of science and mathematics to 231 of our senior high schools. As part of this SEEP program, we have also started what we call the Ghana Science Olympiad, which is also a science competition, but it focuses on the practical application of science. We all saw the videos going around where, for me in Ghana Education Service, I felt the young men reported us to the President of the Republic when they said they couldn't do practical education. And so we are now focusing on the practical application of the science that we do in our schools. In doing this, the schools that are competing are identified or are asked to identify a problem in their community, develop and deploy a scientific project to solve it. And we are piloting this in all 231 of our schools, and we hope that it will be extended to all of the other schools in the country. And we hope that this is an opportunity that moving forward, we can discuss how we can collaborate. Additionally, we are also organizing the Science, Technology, Mathematics, and Innovation Camp for all schools in the country, where every school brings at least 2 students. So we would have over 1,200 students in the month of August to participate in these science camps. In addition, I think it is important to note that the Cabinet has approved a 5-year implementation of the BSTEM, or Basic Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, an almost £80 million program to bring STEM equipment to every single basic school in this country. That is all 38,715 basic schools if you disaggregate. So we are going to deliver STEM equipment to KGs, to primaries, and to junior high schools, every single one, everywhere in this country. STEM equipment to introduce students to science, technology, math, and engineering very early. The Cabinet has also approved the development of 20 STEAM centers. And STEAM is science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics, where students can go to have discovery learning, explore science, technology, arts, engineering, and innovation. Each of these centers will be designed to accommodate up to 120 students at any given time. Madam Chair, this quiz competition, which began with just 23 schools in 1994, has grown to 135 schools. As my earlier accounts indicate, my own Prempeh College was the first school to be crowned champions. It has since been dominated by boys' schools, with Achimota School being the only mixed school to have won. We all know in 1999 that Wesley Girls came close as the first runner-up. But it is important that we also focus on science, especially among our young women. And in this, I would like to let everybody know that the government attaches a lot of importance to increasing the participation of girls and women in science and mathematics. At a basic school, among other things, we are also introducing what we are calling Girls Can Code, which is coding or technology for girls. And we have a great example just down the street at Bishop Girls. We can also see, and we all witnessed not long ago, the unflinching efforts of some of our lesser-known girls' schools like Manfi Methodist at the robotics competition in Washington when they came back with the championship. But more significantly, the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education is methodically encouraging girls' interest in science by working very closely with the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment in the implementation of the new curriculum by demystifying science and mathematics at a very early age and introducing discovery-based learning at a very early age to encourage young women into the sciences. Madam Chair, if we as a country are to attain our goal of increasing our science and mathematics enrollment ratios, this quiz competition, like other ones, are very critical in encouraging more students to be interested in the math and science. Because this time of the year, even World Cup cannot compete with the National Science and Math Quiz. I am confident that our schools and our students will compete and will continue to make us proud in this national phenomenon that was started 26 years ago. We entreat all of the schools, all 135 of them, to participate fairly and with integrity, and we wish the best school will win. Secretly, I would like that to be a girls' school. Madam Chair, I duly declare the National Science and Math Quiz launched. Thank you very much.
Thank you ever so much. And we are now going to unveil the trophy for the 2019 National Science and Maths Quiz. Let's have all of the members of our high table join Madam Nanekia Ankuma Asare as we unveil the trophy. Now let's have the St. Thomas Aquinas Choir on standby. As soon as the trophy is unveiled, they will begin their final performance.
He has to. So if you could be on that side, yes.
If you don't mind. Sorry. I'm the one that's going to speak. I believe so.
You're the one
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the 2019 trophy.
And there we have it. The National Science and Maths Quiz Trophy for 2019. Let's keep that applause going. And this is made purely from bronze. Let's learn a bit more about it from Nana Ikuya.
Yes, so this is our new custom-made trophy. So the rules governing our trophy will change with this one. To keep this trophy, you have to win it 3 times. You have to win it 3 times to keep it. In the meantime, you will have a miniature to keep as a testimony of your accomplishment. So this is our new NSMQ trophy. We patronize local business. So this was made by Touch of Bronze at East Legon. So thank you. And while we are introducing our trophy, we would like to introduce our new quiz mistress for the preliminary round. Would you please join us here? Dr. Thelma Ohinieje is a lecturer in pharmacy, and she's joining the team this year. She has a long story, also having been inspired by Professor Mariam Ramadi, and she was a mentor on our program in 2016 and in 2018.
Right, so there you have it. The 2019 trophy for the National Science and Maths Quiz has been unveiled. And as you heard, the executive director of Primetime saying, you have to win it 3 times if you want to retain it. Otherwise, you're going to get a miniature trophy.